Hi there. Today I'll be providing a little bit of an overview on our cyber insurance consulting offering. To start off, as businesses rely more and more on technology, cybercrime is becoming an almost inevitable threat. In 2020, according to the annual IBM and Ponemon Institute Cost of a Data Breach study, the average cost of a data breach in the US has risen to $8.6 million, aided partly by the switch to remote work and the cybercrime associated with COVID. And businesses are well aware of this increasing threat. In fact, in a 2020 survey, 76% of C-level executives reported to losing sleep over fear of becoming a victim of cyber threat. Obviously, the best thing you can do when faced with this danger is help make sure that it doesn't happen to you, or if it does, that it's identified and addressed as quickly as possible. As you can see here, there are many measures that different companies have taken which have mitigated or lowered the severity of a breach. However, this figure is only covering the cases when a breach does occur. Ideally, nothing is slipping through the cracks and you don't suffer a breach in the first place. But since technology is constantly evolving and changing, so is cybercrime. Criminals are always coming up with new ways to breach your company, and unfortunately, you can never be 100% protected. Along with having a good prevention strategy and a solid incident response and mitigation plan, a cyber insurance policy can serve as a great backup, or even a backup to your backup. And here you can see some of the main ways in which cyber insurance can provide value to a company in light of a breach. They can help recoup some of the financial burdens, such as fines, legal costs, liability expenses, along with notification costs, some business interruption costs, and forensic investigation, among others. But cyber insurance is fairly new and still evolving, right along with cyber threat. This means that selecting and navigating through policies can be pretty confusing. The language across carriers is inconsistent, and even if you're working with a broker, they may not have the necessary expertise in cyber specifically. And a lot of times, this results in companies not having the proper understanding of what is actually covered in their policy, which instills a false sense of security in companies. And when they suffer a breach, they often find that they don't necessarily get the coverage that they were expecting. So, in light of that, we've created an offering that specifically addresses this problem. Essentially, we act as the central experts that will understand your business and your insurance and make sure that every weak link is addressed and that you understand your policy and the role it should play in your larger strategy. So, how do we do this? Well, our process depends on your company because it really is tailored to your needs. But here it is in a nutshell. I'll go into a little bit more depth on each of these steps. Essentially, first we want to understand your business's cyber threat landscape so that we know exactly where you are most at risk and what your exposure level is. Now, when underwriters and brokers do this, some just treat it like a box checking exercise. Our main goal is not to sell you a policy, but rather to ensure that you're protected from cyber threat. So we do much more than that, and I'll give you a little bit of a taste of what it looks like in the next slide. Brace yourself because it's a lot of information at once. As you can see, we complete a thorough cybersecurity strategy review covering all of these areas because we really want to understand where your risks are and what you're currently doing on the prevention and mitigation side. One element I want to call out is our vendor reviews. And the reason I'm singling out vendor reviews is because third-party breaches or vendor breaches were actually the third most common vector of a breach. So it's really important that companies are careful with who they trust with their data. And we take that very seriously. The vendor reviews we've conducted with previous clients sometimes have even escalated to us meeting with the CISOs of their vendors, some of which were industry leaders, and asking them those probing questions about their cybersecurity. We really want to make sure that you feel comfortable trusting them with your data. Then, depending on what we find, we want to address any gaping holes. Often, this process involves implementing or ramping up some of the prevention and mitigation strategies that you may not have in place. And we do this for two reasons. One, our whole goal in this process is to help your company be safe, and prevention and mitigation is number one. Insurance can give you financial compensation, but they can't give you your data back or your lost customers. It's just better for everyone to prevent a breach altogether. But two, Underwriters want to know what you're doing on the prevention and mitigation side, and if they see you're doing a good job, they're going to give you a better deal. They can give you more coverage, they can give you better premiums. So we want to make sure that they can see that you are a perfect addition to their book. Next, and this isn't always chronological, we'll look at your current policy. With our now thorough knowledge of your risks and our experience in cyber insurance, we'll take a deep look and really let you know if your current policy is the best one for you and make sure that you have a clear understanding of where you have coverage. For example, does your policy have a BYOD exclusion? What's the language on ransomware? What limits does it have? We know what to look out for, and we can even pull in our network of brokers to make sure that there's no sneaky language that can result in you not getting the help you need should the situation arise. Next, if you don't have cyber insurance, we can work to make that happen. Our network includes underwriters, brokers, and wholesale brokers who specialize specifically in cyber. So, depending on what you currently do have, we can assist you through the application and selection process to make sure you're getting the coverage you need, the limits you need, without having to pay unnecessarily high premiums. And it's important to note that we aren't getting any commission from your insurance, so we're not interested in selling you something that you don't need. We're really going to make sure that your policy is the one that's best suited for you. Lastly, and hopefully this never has to happen since your prevention and mitigation strategies work so well, but should you have to file a claim, we'll be there to help you if you need us. And this is optional since obviously you only engage with us to the extent that you want, but with our experience with your company and our network, we can be there to help make the claims process as seamless as possible. Finally, I want to emphasize that this is a full-scale solution. When you engage with Intellect Map, you're not just getting a service. You're getting a team of trusted advisors with decades of experience who will make it their mission to holistically help you tackle cyber threat. You're also getting access to our network of insurance brokers who specialize specifically in cyber insurance and who you can pull in as needed. Overall, you're getting peace of mind that we care about your company's safety and we'll do everything we can to ensure your company is protected.